Professor Steiner here. I want to talk about confidence, specifically self-confidence, how important it is, and its nature, and what it really means as far as self-defense is concerned. Self-confidence pertains to your knowledge of skills that you have confidence in, because you are aware that those skills will work, and you are aware that your command of those skills will enable you to use them under stress. And you have confidence in something else too, if you have real self-confidence. And that is, you have confidence in your own knowledge that you will call into play what you have learned. You will act when the balloon goes up. And this is very important. Many people trained in martial arts are trained in a way that creates confidence within the school or the dojo. They gain more confidence through sparring or competition. But in a real situation where their life or the lives of their family members are on the line, it all goes bluey. It doesn't gel, because that's not what they've been preparing for, and hence that's not what they're confident in. So your confidence is something that will be built up initially by approaching skills for study that will work. What are those skills? Well, in American Combato, I like to say, and I believe this is true, and I believe anybody who has studied it or who is familiar with the system will verify this, the skills are effective. And they work. They've worked time and time and time again, and they'll work for you. My system is not the only good system. I'm not the only good teacher, and neither is Professor Bryan's. But when you look for a good teacher, look for one who teaches very basic, destructive skills. You can't defend yourself in a nice way. Self-defense occurs when you are set upon by a predatory individual who intends you harm. There's no nice way to deal with that. I've discussed the nonsense of pain compliance, and it is nonsense as far as self-defense is concerned. You have to be prepared to do damage to somebody. Well, what enables you to do damage to somebody? Destructive techniques. And it's not that difficult to see what they are. Open hand blows to the vital areas of the body, low kicks to vital areas of the body, a lot of follow-up. Never underestimate an opponent. Always be aware that you are in for a serious battle when you defend yourself. Filling your head with bullshit that because you've learned some martial arts skills, it's going to be easy to overcome someone, is not going to give you realistic confidence. It gives you what's called false confidence. Now, I've had enough experience from my background in weight training and physical culture, and I've been involved in that for decades, as well as the martial arts. And I can tell you, there are people out there, you can haul off and belt them with everything you've got, and they'll smile at you and say, that's it? One of my students, a black belt police officer with the Tacoma Police Department, reported the following. He approached an individual when he was on patrol who looked a bit suspicious. He was a young guy, but he was kind of talking to himself. He was standing on a corner, and he's mulling around, and he just looked to be a little bit off balance mentally. My student approached him, and just friendly question, how you doing, and everything all right? Well, the guy was friendly enough, actually, but he turned, and there was a telephone pole next to him. He punched that telephone pole with everything he had. My student told me, and he wouldn't lie about this, the pole moved, and this guy didn't flinch. Didn't even bother him. And probably because he was crazy. That kind of person in that state of mind is not going to fall over because you deliver your Sunday punch or you execute some cute technique that worked in the dojo against your practice partner. Now, I'm not saying you can't stop somebody like that. You can, but you have to be prepared, A, to use techniques that are decisive and destructive, and B, you're going to get hurt. I know nobody likes to hear that. I tell that to all of my students. Expect to get hurt. Expect to get hurt. Expect to get hurt. And after a while, if they stick with training, they expect to get hurt. And they know that to get hurt minimally, they have to hurt the other guy badly and quickly. The quicker, the most seriously you hurt the other guy, the safer you're going to be. Now, when you know you're ready to do that, then you have real self-confidence. I'm not talking about the confidence that you're ready to look good in class. You're all stretched out, or your side kicks go right up to head level, which is ridiculous if you're training for self-defense. Or you're doing flawless techniques when you're doing your throws or your whatever you're doing. That's not going to give you the confidence you need for the street. You have to gain control over skills that after a while you yourself can see how dangerous they are. If I tell you, for example, and I do this with female students, guy grabs you, he pulls you close to him, sink your teeth into his face, bite into his face, grab his ears, rip his ears off while you're biting a piece of his face off, kick him in the testicles and break his knee with a side kick. Now, you're not going to see that illustrated in any of the martial arts magazines, and you're never going to see it executed in competition. But I certainly hope that if any female I trained is ever set upon, she resorts to exactly that or a similar level of violence to defend herself. Knowing these types of skills, A, knowing that you will use those types of skills, B, is what will produce in you self-confidence. Self-confidence has nothing to do with being fearless. If you are not afraid at all, then you don't need any confidence. If a 2-year-old child comes up to you to hit you with his fist, if you're normal, you'd be indifferent to it. So, oh, well, some kid's upset. You don't care. You don't need self-confidence if a situation does not make you afraid. If it isn't a challenge, it's like courage. If you're not afraid, you're not courageous. Courage is when you feel afraid and you do it anyway. Courage is when you go after that son of a bitch who's attacking you because you're fed up with being victimized and you're not going to tolerate it and you're going to take his head off or die trying. That's courage. Courage is acting in defiance of fear when you know action is appropriate and necessary. Self-confidence is the knowledge that you have that you'll do that. It's linked up with courage. Train in techniques that are brutally effective. Now, I don't say this because I want to see people injured. I don't say this because I'm vindictive or cruel. I despise violence, and I despise people who are violent. What I'm talking about is learning to do what has been forced upon you to do by a violent offender who is attacking you from without. That's what I'm talking about. If, God forbid, that kind of violence comes to you, then you need those destructive techniques. And you need the confidence that, yes, indeed, if that guy touches me, I'm going to rip his eyes out. I'm going to spit in his face and kick him in the testicles. I'm going to do what I have to do. When that son of a bitch puts a hand on me, he's toast. When you feel that, that's self-confidence. You'll still be afraid. If you're not afraid, you're a fool. The only people who aren't afraid are people who are dead, or people who are completely stupid, or people who don't understand the threat. If I took a Thompson submachine gun and walked up to a baby in a crib and pointed it at the baby might want to play with the machine gun. But hopefully you'd have a different reaction. Why? Because you know what a machine gun is. So if you know what a threat is, you're going to be afraid. You're going to use that fear energy. Remember, it's fight or flight. That's what that fear energy gives you the power to do. Now, I recommend that you flee whenever it's possible to do so safely. But sometimes it's not. And when it's not, you want to take that fear energy and direct it into an attack against the person who is attempting to victimize you, or who is actually victimizing you right now. Or those people, if there's more than one. Or that armed individual. If you can't avoid trouble, you go through it and you defeat it. When you know that what you've learned is effective, and you know that you will use it, you feel it, you're certain. You've settled your mind on it. Then you will have genuine self-confidence. Bullies, not all, but most bullies, are cowards. Some are not. But the act of bullying is always cowardly. It doesn't take confidence to bully or to push someone around or to do what violent offenders do. And that is to target people that they are convinced they will be successful in targeting. That doesn't take confidence. You're not being attacked by a Medal of Honor winner. You're not being attacked by a hero. You're being attacked by a scumbag. You're being attacked by some filthy piece of garbage who sees his prerogative of attacking you as fun, as enjoyable, as a means to the end he wishes to achieve. Bullshit to that. Please, take my message to heart. One day, it may save your life. Thank you.